Most people spend their entire career chasing a bigger number on their paycheck. Let's look at a case study of a guy named Justin who did the exact opposite. Imagine a 34-year-old who walks away from a $180,000 a year salary on purpose. He cuts his income by $138,000 a year and considers it the best financial decision of his life. Here's what makes Justin's scenario different from every other "I quit my job" video you've seen. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't go viral. He didn't build a tech startup. He built $42,000 a year in passive income. That's $3,500 a month, money that lands in his account whether he gets out of bed or not. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact math of how that works. I'll show you why a $42,000 passive can compete with a $180,000 active in ways that will genuinely surprise you. And I'll show you the exact number you need to do the same thing. Now, real quick, because the YouTube algorithm and the lawyers love this part, I am sharing this for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm not your personal financial advisor, and investing always carries risk. Always do your own research. Now, let's get into the actual math. Let me paint you a picture of what a $180,000 salary actually looks like in America today. You live at a high cost of living city like New York City, San Francisco, or Chicago. From the outside, you've made it. But here is the reality from the inside. Your alarm goes off at 6:15 a.m. You commute. In New York City, that commute costs the average worker nearly $11,000 a year when you factor in transit costs and the value of your lost time. And that's before you've done a single minute of actual work. You're working 55 hours a week, not because you love it, but because that's what $180,000 demands of you. That salary isn't just a number, it's a contract. And here's the trap nobody talks about. The more you earn, the more you spend. It's called lifestyle inflation. Your rent goes up, your car goes up. The salary grows, but somehow so does the anxiety, because a high income doesn't buy freedom, it buys a better cage. It's a trade. You give them 50 hours of your life every week, they give you money. The moment you stop showing up, the money stops. Passive income breaks that trade entirely. But to understand why $42,000 passive can compete with $180,000 active, we have to look at the invisible math. Let's say you earn that $180,000 a year in New York City as a single filer. Here is what actually happens to that money. Right off the top, the IRS takes about $36,000. New York State takes another $10,000. New York City local taxes take about $6,500. FICA takes $11,000. Your $180,000 salary just became about $116,500. Now, if you're aggressively investing to buy your freedom, you're maxing out your 401k at $23,000 a year. That leaves you with $93,500 hitting your bank account, or about $7,700 a month. Now, subtract the costs that only exist because of the job. That $11,000 commute, work clothes, overpriced lunches, dry cleaning, another $4,000 conservatively. Work-related expenses alone drain $18,000 a year before you've had a single meaningful moment of your life. Your real spendable value is now $75,500 a year, or $6,200 a month. Now let's look at Justin living on $42,000 in passive income. Structured correctly through index funds and dividend stocks, qualified dividends and long-term capital gains are taxed incredibly favorably. If your total taxable income is under $47,000 as a single filer, your federal capital gains tax rate is literally 0%. Zero. So, on $42,000 of passive income, after standard deductions and potential state taxes, you're keeping almost all of it. Let's call it $40,000 net. No commute, no $20 salads at your desk, no stress spending. And the biggest factor, no expensive city requirement. You can live anywhere. Real spendable value of $180,000 active in New York City is $6,200 a month. Real spendable value of $42,000 passive anywhere else is $3,300 a month. Yes, there's a $2,900 gap, but when you remove the 3,000 plus city premium for rent and food that comes with being a high salary professional in a major metro, that gap vanishes. This is why people making this shift live better, not because the numbers are equal, because the life is. So, how does someone actually build $42,000 a year in passive income? Where does the cash come from? Justin used three streams to do it. Stream 1, the index fund base. This is a low-cost mix of S&P 500 funds and total market ETFs. Following the famous 4% rule, you can safely withdraw 4% of a well-diversified portfolio annually. To generate $25,000 a year from index funds, you need a portfolio of about $625,000. Stream 2, the dividend cash flow. High-yield dividend ETFs or REITs can produce yields around 4%. A $300,000 position in a diversified dividend fund generates roughly $12,000 a year in cash flow. Dividends have a huge psychological advantage. The cash hits your account even if the stock market is having a bad month. You don't have to sell your shares. Now, building a $925,000 portfolio requires brutal discipline. If you're making $180,000, you need to be saving and investing $50,000 to $60,000 a year for about 11 years, letting compound interest do the heavy lifting. It's hard, but it's a math problem with a known solution. Stream 3, the expense eraser. This is the stream nobody talks about. Reducing what you need. Every $500 a month you permanently cut from your required expenses is the mathematical equivalent of adding $150,000 to your investment portfolio. Let me say that again. Paying off a $1,500 monthly mortgage is identical to having an extra $450,000 invested at a 4% withdrawal rate. Now, before we get to the obvious objections, I want to talk about the part of Justin's story that a spreadsheet cannot fully capture, because this is what actually explains why this life feels better. When you work that $180,000 job, your best energy and your best thinking happen at work. By the time you get home, you have nothing left. Not for your relationships, not for your health, not for the things you say you actually care about. The salary has purchased your waking hours and left you with the scraps. When the passive income kicks in and you step away, you get back your commute and your overtime. You easily get back 3 hours every day. Think about what you would do with 3 extra hours every single day. That's 21 hours a week. That's 90 hours a month. Over the course of a year, that's 45 full 24-hour days handed back to you. Imagine moving to a smaller city. Your rent drops by $1,400 a month. You start cooking instead of ordering. You get back into shape. You reconnect with people you've been too busy to see. None of these things cost money. In fact, several of them save you money. What passive income buys isn't more things. It's optionality. The option to say no to what drains you and yes to what doesn't. Now, whenever I talk about this, I get the same objections. What about healthcare? It's a real expense, but here's the loophole. ACA marketplace subsidies are based on your modified adjusted gross income. Because Justin's $42,000 comes from capital gains and dividends, his taxable income is extremely low on paper, meaning he qualifies for massive healthcare subsidies. A premium plan could cost him less than $150 a month. What if I don't make $180,000? The $180,000 is just a starting point. If you make $80,000, the principles are identical. The timeline just shifts. You spend 15 years building a $400,000 portfolio that throws off $16,000 a year. It's not total retirement, but it changes what your job has to be. You can take a lower stress job that fits your life, not your bills. At the end of the day, financial independence researchers call this your freedom number. It's the specific dollar amount of passive income you need where work becomes optional. The number you need isn't your current salary. The number you need is the one that covers the life you actually want, not the life your LinkedIn profile wants you to want. In Justin's case, the magic number was $42,000. Yours will be different, but it exists, and unlike your salary, once you build it, nobody can fire you from it. I want to know yours. What is the passive income that would make your job optional? Drop it in the comments. I read them all.